now
Yeah.
we're back there again, like that now to a certain degree, you have Putin who has nuclear. I mean, one warning, I don't know if I shared this with you or not, so stop me if I did. But I can see the nuclear plant from my apartment.
Oh no, I did not know that. Mm-mm.
It's like I can literally see the pipes. There's three pipes that stick out. Because back in the day, Queens, I mean, it was on the other side of the river. It was like
A
far,
world away, right?
yeah, it's literally a mile. Like it literally sits on the other side of the East River, but whatever. Um, and it was the Monday morning after Russia invaded Ukraine. And I heard this huge explosion. And it was like 5:30 in the morning. But I remember I popped up and thought, this is the last thought I'm gonna have before I
Oh my God.
because I thought that maybe Russia did something to that nuclear plant. Like if
Mm-hmm.
they dropped a bomb on that would literally take the tri-state area out.
Mm-hmm.
Like it would take the area out. They've
Sure
talked
would.
about it. And I'm just like, why do I live like I mean, I walk by it, like, or when I go for runs, I run by it.
Good heavens.
Yeah.
What was the explosion?
Oh, it was what is it called? A transformer blew.
Oh, okay. Phew, phew.
But
But
yeah, I
yeah,
mean, I just remember thinking, oh, this is my last thought. And then I
that's
went
not
back to
good.
sleep.
That's that's what I do when earthquakes hit. I'm like, oh, it's the big one. Go
But
back
do
to sleep.
you get earthquakes in Las Vegas?
No, not as much. Yeah, we get them here, but not like we did when I lived in California, right? Like LA. So, I mean, remember, we're going to be oceanfront property when California, San Andreas Fault splits
So,
California. Yeah.
I mean, New York gets earthquakes, which is crazy. There's a fault that actually, it's not as active as the San Andreas fault, but there is a fault that runs from the northeast all the way through. And I'll never forget, yeah, sitting at my dining table and all of a sudden everything started shaking. And I thought it was a train going by because we live by a train track.
Yeah.
And yeah, no, it was an earthquake. But I mean, that was 12 years ago.
Right.
And we haven't had anything since that I know of.
Well, we probably have tiny earthquakes that we barely notice or we don't notice at all because
Yeah,
the
that's
earth is always moving, really.
always moving. The craziest one I was in, I mean, that one was just weird because it was like, huh, like I didn't even really realize what was happening. But Peru gets some. So when I was stuck in Peru twice while I was there, I mean, it was a good shake.
Wow.
Well,
So you're in a pandemic, stuck in a foreign country where you don't really speak the language
don't
and
at all.
you're having earthquakes.
Yeah,
Wow.
it was
That's
great.
that's a come to Jesus if there ever was a come to Jesus. Interesting.
Oh, yeah, that was definitely a weird time.
So then there's wildfires in Hawaii, which is something I never even considered, right? A fire on an island. And I'm
I
like,
I was
wow.
reading this morning, it's just the conditions have been so dry
Yeah. And
that
windy
and windy, yeah.
and just knocking out entire cities, right? I mean, wow. And it's hard because we think it'll never happen here. They've never thought like not a huge contingency plan, right? Because they weren't
Say
thinking
this,
about it.
and I'm not even kidding. When I see that sort of shit, I'm like, I want to literally quit my job and go learn how to like live on the land.
Yeah.
Because at some point that shit is going to hit all of us, and I feel like we're going to need to know how to farm, how to pitch a tent, how to kill a deer.
How to purify your water.
Yeah, like I don't know, build a fire. Like I can actually build a fire. That's like one of the only things I know how to do. But I still need a lighter and still need all this stuff. It's like, what if you don't have those I don't know. Like I feel like there's a certain level of ignorance that a lot of us have who grew up in urban environments
Hmm.
that if like I remember a friend of mine who lived in LA when the big one hit in the 90s, and
Mhm.
I mean, I don't do it anymore, but I used to, where she would be like, you should always keep like 500 to $1,000 in cash, because she's like, well, you don't realize when something like that happens, ATMs don't work. You can't use your credit cards.
Mm-mm.
Everything is cash. And like there's chaos.
Yeah. I don't think we can begin to understand the situations that we're just barely missing, right? And a random wildfire in Hawaii that sweeps in minutes and, destroys a city isn't, or a pandemic that wipes out hundreds of thousands of
And I
people.
heard numbers are back up again, like big time, which is, I'm like, somebody posted, I don't know if this was true, that there are hospitals where like they don't have any nurses again because they're all getting sick.
I'm just like, I don't think, I mean, I know I'm not ready. I'm not prepared. I can't even begin to scratch. And I'm like, and then I get overwhelmed, right? Like I'm overwhelmed just thinking about it, like thinking about Hawaii. And I was just like, oh my God, serious. And yet it's got to be done, right? Here we are on
I
the
just,
verge
I
of
think there's
being,
only so much we can do though, because if you think about Earth, which has been here billions of years,
right?
clearly the dinosaurs were not driving cars.
Nope.
And it still took dinosaurs out. Like, I think there's only so much we can do that will stop what is going to inevitably happen.
Oh,
It's
we're
just,
not going to stop it,
no, there's
right?
no way.
Yeah.
I mean, we're adding to it. I think if anything, we're adding to it, and it may come faster had we not been.
Right.
But like, there's no stopping what Earth wants. Like, we are so, as humans, so insignificant and teeny
Oh,
in the
yeah.
things.
And maybe just one in a billion planets even, right? That we don't even know. I mean, it's overwhelming, which is why then I go back the other direction. For
Hmm.
me, then I say, all right, what can I do about my part in this planet? How do I do better for me, right? Because I can't I can't stop all of that necessarily. I can do my best to not add to it. Like, don't throw my matches into a very dry bush, right? Like, what can I do? So, interesting enough, as a side note, I have a friend. I'm going to call him friend. He'll love that. And I met him in Portland, Oregon. Thought he was crazy. As a matter of fact, one of the very few people I was actually afraid of. Like, I was like, I do not want to get this guy angry because he'd kill me, is kind of how I felt. But apparently, I gave him some good advice about nonprofit work, which I'm glad I did. Turns out he had a dream and he bought some property in Hawaii. I do not know what island, I will admit it, but I do know he's in Hawaii. He bought several acres of jungle and he's living on it and turning it into a wildlife refuge slash he grows food and fruit. He grows what he eats. He processes the rainwater into his bathroom water and his, I think he might buy drinking water. I don't know for sure, but I mean, he's like, and it's called Flash Town. He's got a Instagram, he's got a Facebook, he's got a Patreon that I support. Um, Mostly because I I love that he's living his dream and he's doing what he wants. He's into crypto, but he's living off the land and like he's taking that concept and actually making it happen. And I was
Good.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I said. Now I'm like, yeah, and I'm willing to support him because I
What
love
he's
that he's
doing.
just trying to make it happen, right? And I loved it. It's awesome. Flash Town.
That's
Look him up.
really amazing. It's called Flash Town.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's nutty. He is nutty. And I love that about him. He is a pot smoker, and he might grow pot for all I know. I actually don't know. I know he grows fruit trees. He's got pigs, he's got goats. Actually, he hasn't mentioned the goats recently, so I'm thinking something's up with the goats. He might have given them to someone. He's got dogs, he's got a ton of cats, which you know how I feel about that. But yeah, he just takes care of chickens, ducks, whatever needs help.
Oh,
Whatever needs help, he gives help. So and he's learning to live off the land, and it's pretty cool. Like he collects rainwater in a big bucket and uses it for things.
that's really cool.
Yeah.
A friend of mine stayed at a place in, I believe it was New Mexico, and it was totally off the grid. She found it on Airbnb, and she said, you know, they clearly have a little bit of electricity because they had a water heater,
Okay.
but everything was solar, rainwater. And her and her husband were just checking it out because there's like this whole community. And after she's like, it was cool for a couple days, she's like, I don't think I could live that way.
Yeah. It's like tough. He does have, I'm gonna say he has electricity, but it might be generator. I like to, I don't know. But I mean, he's got internet because he posts on his Instagram and his computer, and he's
Have to. I mean, there's certain things like you just have to have
yeah,
water, internet, cell phone.
yeah. Which he had. I mean, Hawaii, it's not, you know, it's not a third world country. It's Hawaii. It's paradise. But fascinating. He had a dream and he did it. And I actually think about that every day,
Oh, that's amazing.
which is also why I like to follow Flashtown, because it's just a reminder that yeah, and it's not like he didn't come from money. As a matter of fact, he was almost homeless for quite some time.
Oh my
Right? I
God.
mean, he's not a rich person, but he got his priorities right, and he knew what he wanted and he went after it. So,
I love that.
and he can live off the land. Now, if we have a nuclear attack and it doesn't wipe us out, he'll survive. So more power to him. So there's
Hold on,
that.
I'm trying to find it. And what is it called? Flash Town?
Yeah. Because on Instagram, he should be Flashtown, not Jesse Sponberg.
Mm,
But I'll send it to you. You can check him out. It's fascinating. He's built a pond for fish. I mean, he does live in Hawaii, so he lives very close to the ocean. I mean, it's perfect for him. Perfect. But yeah, we got to learn how to live off the land. It's funny because I watch Oblivion. I own it, as a matter of fact. I don't know why I ended up purchasing that movie. It's not like I'm a huge Tom Cruise fan, but there's a movie that he made called Oblivion, and it literally is, you know, the end of the world. The
mm.
world is ending. There's only a few people left, including Morgan Freeman, who is in the movie as well, which may be why I bought it, because I do love my Morgan Freeman. But it's just like these little pockets on Earth that have grass and water, and you can plant and grow things, where everything else is dead. The Statue of Liberty, there's no ocean. The Statue of Liberty is like up to here with dirt, right? So it's dirt is, but you can see like her arm and like the top of her nose. So, you know, it's an apocalyptic kind of movie. But then there's
Yeah,
these little pockets of green and hills and plant growth and water. And I'm like, yeah, that's probably where we're headed. Little pockets. So
that's why y'all that live out in the desert, I'm like, have fun. I don't want to be closer to where there is literally there are no resources.
yeah, that's true. That's like, hence me and my looking for my motorhome, then I can just follow the resources around. But then again, I want to be a good steward of those resources, right? Like I really do. And I don't have kids, so it's not like I'm trying to save the planet for the children. I'm trying to save it for these perfect little creatures of mine who need food and water and shelter and air conditioner in the summer in Las Vegas. I mean, yeah, they're my kids. So, but yeah.
Something wrong with that.
Mm.